That's for sure. Number one, we have the Five of Wands, right? Do you like to shuffle cards? It helps. I just lost my train of thought. So we have the Five of Wands here in the reverse, which is a card of unnecessary conflicts. Like, this is a card that just likes to pick fights, that starts arguments for no real good reason. And it's just like very combative. Honestly, that's really what this card is. And then we also have the Five of Pentacles here, which is a card that, number one, this card is struggling, right? Like, I'm gonna need you to shut up. Thank you. Right. Number one, there are internal struggles of like struggling with sense of safety, struggling with sense of comfort, those types of things. And then it's like, okay, just in general, the relationship is struggling, you know? But in this struggle card, there's also a sense of like wanting to make things better, but not being able to. It's like this card in its reverse causes the struggle. You know, it just makes things worse than it needs to be by like actively doing things that are worse for the situation. It's like self-sabotage, honestly. It's like self-sabotage. Usually this card is directed towards finances, and in that case it's like, okay, instead of saving money, you just spend money as soon as you get it. But in this case, it's more like those pointless arguments, excessive fighting, not dealing with those emotions, those types of things that just hurt the situation instead of help it. And we also have the Moon here in the reverse, which the Moon in the reverse just is actively avoiding its feelings. It's actively avoiding its emotions, and really just trying to not dig deep at what's going on and how they're feeling. And so what happens is it tends to explode in a negative way, which is why there's that self-sabotaging there, you know? That's really what it is. Like, I would stay away from them. I don't see anything good happening from engaging with them, from thinking about them, because all they're going to do is end up causing more pain and stress and heartache into your life, because number one, they don't have their self together. They're actively avoiding their emotions and are not dealing with the real issues at hand, and they're just going to pointlessly start arguments, and you don't need that kind of energy in your life. Not surprised by the reading? Yeah. So I would say stay away, because it's just more drama than is necessary, honestly. Oh no! These are a lot of cards in the reverse. I'm not gonna lie to you. This doesn't look very good at all, in the slightest, okay? We have the Tower here in the reverse. The Tower is a card where it kind of feels like everything is falling apart, where it's like, yeah, where it kind of feels like everything is falling apart, and there's a lot of destruction, and there's a lot of getting rid of old things to bring in new things. And the key to this card in its reverse is we are mostly focused on looking at what doesn't work, so that way we can find out what does work, you know? This part is mostly focused on, okay, let's figure out what we can do to make things better, you know? It's more like, let's try and rebuild a little bit. Let's try and find what we can do to take us into the direction that we want to go, you know? And that's the goal of this card. It's like, okay, let's focus less on the craziness that's happening and focus more on what we can do to fix it, honestly. But I don't think that that's you right now. The main reason why I say I don't think that's you right now is because we have the Queen of Swords in the reverse. And the Queen of Swords in the reverse lacks intuition. It lacks clarity. It lacks being able to see situations clearly for what they are, you know? And so it just ends up putting itself into situations that are really not good for it, that are really unhelpful, that are just going to end up in pain and heartache, because it cannot see the reality. It can't see people's true intentions. It can't see when a situation just isn't going to work out, you know? And so before we even start to try and rebuild anything, we need to obtain that clarity. We need to figure out what's not working, you know? That's what that is. And part of that is also because we need to be more in touch with our emotions. We need to do a deep dive of our emotions and just let everything come up, you know, all of the uncomfortable, the pain, the hurt. We just need to let that bubble to the top, so that way we can start to work on that, you know, and we can release it, so that way we can see everything clearly. Because sometimes the emotions cloud our judgment. Sometimes it makes it incredibly impossible to see the reality of situations. And this card says that number one, we're not in touch with our emotions right now, and if we continue to not be in touch with our emotions, it's going to cause more chaos. It's going to cause more pain and more hurt than is necessary, honestly. And honestly, I think right now what is probably needed is a little bit of rest. Like, that's what this Four of Swords is. It's a rest card. It's a card that says we need to come back. We need to focus on us. We need to bring in some mental stability, make sure we're doing okay, rejuvenate, restore ourselves, those types of things. And what's hilarious about this card is, even if you're like, I don't have time for that. This is a card that says, well, you're going to have to. Regardless of what you want to do, you are going to be put in a situation where you're forced to stop, where you're forced to take a step back and just focus on yourself. Whether that be like getting sick, having to stay home, one of those things. You're going to be forced with all of these things, and you're going to have to deal with everything. Your emotions, trying to see the reality in situations, focusing on yourself. Like, there's just a lot of healing that needs to go on, and like self-healing, you know? That's really what it is, because that's what the Star is. The Star is one of those cards where it's like, okay, well, we need to focus on us. And really, sometimes what the Star says is that you might also end up getting a little bit sick. This is like, physically, you need to maintain your physical health. You need to make sure you're doing okay mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all of those things, and just kind of nurture yourself, you know? That's really what this card is like. We need to pour back into us because there is a situation that is forcing us to pour back into us, and that's what all of this is. Does that make sense?